Howdy ho, Andrew aka Kelpier here. Welcome to the Onion Buns and welcome to another episode of Hilarious Gaming Stories. So, I'm really proving myself to be a liar here. Every time I think I'm done with DAOC, I remember another story. So, maybe this will be the last one for a bit. As I said, I was the guild leader. And I used what I had learned in Neverwinter Nights on AOL. The guild that I ran in, which was also named Core, but it was Crusaders of the Realms. They ran that guild fantastic. Like Panzer Magi and Light's Edge and just the whole character. There's too many to name. Dock Ridge, just so many. They ran it excellently. Jack Tar Raw. Okay, I'm going to stop now. And they ran it excellently, and they taught me so many important lessons on how to be an effective guild leader and run a guild. Because it's not just about getting a name and inviting people to join. You need to give those people a reason to be a part of that guild. Like in Neverwinter Nights, we had trivia nights and we had PvP nights and we had a core ladder, PvP ladder that's like, we had the NW ladder, which was for the entire game, but then we had just for the guild, we had another PvP ladder. And it was on and on. Like, it was about making content for the members. And this is how I approached being a guild leader in Dark Age of Camelot. And our earlier games, but it really came to a head in Dark Age of Camelot. And one of the activities I came to is Dark Age had this one area that I had completely forgotten about, but it wasn't giants, but they were giants, but they weren't like giants. They were big, like twice the size of you, but they weren't these monstrosity 10, 15 feet high giants. And it was out in the desert, and it was a biatch if you were there solo or even with one or two people. Like, these things were tough. So it was much like the story I told you about the city of Avalon. Is I would go there, I would do a guild night, and we'd usually have I want to say 20, 25 people there, members. And it got to be so popular that we had non-guilds asking to join in because their guilds were not doing this. And they wanted to join in. First off, it was amazing XP. Like, it was power leveling 101. And so that's what we would do. And we'd go out there, and how we'd do it is if you hit a monster, you got credit. It wasn't limited to your group in DAOC. Everybody that hit the monster got credit. So what I would do is I'd run out there as my paladin, because like I said, I built this paladin to be a meat shield. He couldn't kill a fly, but he was next to impossible to kill. And with a good cleric, it really wasn't it was game over. Like I said, I couldn't kill anything with him. I had no offense. I was what we used to call a pillbox in when I was playing Car Wars. Tabletop Car Wars was a pillbox. We'd build these stupid cars that had no wheels and couldn't move, but they'd sit there, and they had so much armor on it that attackers just couldn't kill them. And that's how I designed my paladin. So I'd run out, and I'd collect like 6 or 7 of these giants, and I'd drag them back to the group, and I would hit them a few times because I needed to hit them to get aggro, get threat going, and I'd hit them a few times, get aggro and everything, and the cleric would keep me alive, and then everyone would jump in and kill it, and everyone would get XP, and then we would just loot, and at the end of the night, we'd just divide the loot up to whoever needed what. And there was none of this stupid rules at EQ2 I ran into where, we're the main group, so we get first divvy on the loot. No, That's just ludicrous. No, everybody that partook got loot. And it actually worked really well. We had no arguments. We did this for, I want to say we did this weekly for a year and never once had an argument over loot because, everybody was getting stuff, what they wanted. And if they didn't get it that week, they come back the next week and they got it the next week. So, there was no greed like I ran into in EverQuest 2. So, but yeah, we would do this and it would be usually about a 4-hour guild night. Like get out there and then probably about 3 hours of hunting and then call it a night. And it worked fantastic. And it's a really good memory of mine because this is what I think guilds need to do. Even to this day, I think this is what guilds should be focusing on doing, is building the camaraderie of the guild members. Like especially like in ESO, I didn't join any guilds there because I stood out back and I watched, and these guilds had nothing holding them together other than numbers. And numbers is not a strong enough bond to hold a guild together. You're going to have drama, you're going to have fights, personality clashes, and it's going to self-destruct. And sure enough, that's what usually happened in ESO, except for the biggest monstrous guilds. But everyone else, it's like they come out and they collapse because it's drama and it's egos. Everybody wants to be the most important and everybody wants first dibs on loot. And, there's no camaraderie. There's no fellowship, for lack of a better word. Thank you, Tolkien. And yeah, so as I was making this last video on Devon, it reminded me of this. It's like, this is how I built up camaraderie, fellowship, interacting with the guild, is I got them to work together. And I really do wish guilds out there did this nowadays, but I don't see it, honestly. In SWTOR, the last guild I was in with Vess, the guild master of that, we kind of did this with the players that were not a part of op groups, because you had your op groups and they were dedicated, and I mean those ops were hard, so it made sense that they had dedicated groups and they didn't have random people coming in unless it was absolutely necessary. They had designed units. So what Vess and I did is we built a ops night, but for all the players in the guild that didn't have ops groups. And some of them, like, they were never going to get into an ops group. So they weren't great players. You don't tell them that, but I can say this all this years later. They weren't great players. Like the guy Germo I talk about, he was purely a selfish player. He was never going to get invited into a consistent ops group because of how he played, how he behaved. And also he loved to talk shit, which gets tiresome. It's funny for a bit, but then it just gets tiresome. But yeah, so this is what Vess and I would do every week. And like there was no reward for us in it. Absolutely no reward for us in it, except we were getting the guild interacting with each other, pulling it together, making it stronger. And that was the reward. And that, that's, like I said, I think every guild should be doing that in an MMORPG. This should be mandatory. It's not. Sadly, it's not, but it should be. And yeah, so anyway, that's my video. It's not a hilarious story, but it's a story that brings a smile to my face. I like the memory. Put it that way. I like the memory of that. I liked being able to take my guild out to these places, be it PvP, be it PvE, City of Avalon, or these guys, or whatever, and just get them working together as a team, because it benefited everybody. It really does. It benefits everybody. There's no downside to it. And occasionally you'll run into that greedy, selfish player that, wants it to be all about them. And you find that out and you recognize that and you remove them. And your guild's stronger for that too. So anyway, that's my video for today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like this video, leave a like, a subscribe, and a share. I'm trying to grow my channel, and a like, a subscribe, and a share does me wonders, and I do appreciate it. I really do. Takes 1 second to subscribe, costs you absolutely nothing. Just hit that subscribe button below you, and you're done. You're golden, and I really do appreciate you doing it. Always feel free to leave a comment. I encourage everybody to leave a comment. Not only does it get us interacting, but it really does help me with the YouTube algorithm and getting more eyes on my videos. And as always, pew, 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 and shit. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.